I've talked so much this year about the Winnipeg Jets forward core, and a big reason for that was obviously because of the massive trade, getting rid of Pierre-Luc Dubois and bringing in Velarde, Iafallo, and Kupari. Those three guys have added so much depth to this team, and they are all playing such amazing hockey, but I haven't really given a lot of time to talk about the defense. And the defense, even though it is almost the exact same as last year, has been so improved. You look at this, top of the line, these are some of the best analytical defensive pairings in the league, and you've got Schmidt and Sandberg up there as the best, and Dillon and Pionk at number 12. Now, I know analytics are analytics, but people take notice of this. And when you look at the play and you look at the consistency to these guys when they're on the ice, you see why their numbers are so high, why they are so good and so dominant. You know, this team with the forward core, like I've said, they've shown so much depth and they've just showed so much consistency that at times, you know, when you look at the defense, you look at Connor Hellebuck, we don't really talk about them as much this year. And, you know, Connor Hellebuck, he was a little rough to start this year, but he lately has been immaculate. And even Laurent Brossoit, the tandem of both of those guys this year has been awesome and super underrated in my opinion when you look at the rest of the league. Now, I know there's some really good tandems out there, but again, the entirety and the consistency of this team, front to bottom, has been awesome. And the defense has been really, really undersung in my opinion as an unsung hero this year for the Jets. And I just want to give them a little bit of time because you look at their stats, you look at everything they've done, and it's been great. And you know, I think that you find themselves in a situation where we were going into this year where you had a logjam at defense. We had no idea really what to expect. But, you know, there could be trades. Could we see a lot of prospects breaking in? You know, so you saw Ville Heinola having the amazing start to that preseason before the injury, and now he's getting healthier. You've got Declan Chisholm that's, you know, been with the team who's struggling to get games in but has looked great when he has played. You know, Logan Stanley is still here as well, and not to mention everyone else is playing great hockey that's already on here. And, you know, what do you do with this depth? What goes to question? And I think that the Jets could find themselves in a really good situation for trading some of these guys. But enough of talking about what they can do. Let's talk about what they've got right now. And like I said, when you look at this pairing right now, Schmidt and Sandberg, they are analytically one of the best pairings out there in the NHL. And like I said, for good reason. And you look at their numbers and you kind of laugh a little bit because you're like, are you serious? Is this real? Are we really being serious right now? But yeah, Nate Schmidt and Dylan Sandberg are near the best of the league when it comes to just being consistent out there and not allowing goals. And you love to see it. And, you know, like I said, Dylan Sandberg has been a great piece of development. We've got this guy went to college for the full years, all down there, played great in college, came up with the Moose, and now with the Jets, and is only been getting better. His numbers are really good defensively. You don't get a lot of offense from him, we know that, and you can see it in his points this year as well. You know, only the 8 points so far in the 32 games played, but a +7, and I know plus minus is important, you know, whatever the stat. But this year with the Jets, you know, you look at a lot of those guys that you wouldn't expect to have good plus minuses, and they actually do. And it's kind of surprising. And then you look at the entirety of the play of the defense, and night in and night out, they're pretty damn consistent. The Jets haven't had a lot of bad defensive games this year, and when they have bad defensive games in the past, they have them consistently. They go on stretches of some of the worst defensive 5-on-5 hockey in the league, in my opinion. But this year, you just don't see it, and it's a huge reason to why they're finding so much success. The forwards are not only having to show up and bail out, you know, because of bad defense, and it's like we've seen in the season past. Now they get to go out there with confidence. They can play and have the league, and they can defend a lead, you know, and that's something I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about from where we were last year. And again, looking at this defense, it is identical pretty much to last year, and last year they were terrible when it came to that category. And this year with Nate Schmidt, you know, again, like a guy that probably wasn't even going to start the year with the Jets. Ville Heinola had probably taken his spot out. You know, Rick Bowness has confirmed that. I'm going to talk about that in a short coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But even Nate Schmidt, you know, his analytical numbers, you know, as a whole, aren't that good. His, you know, finishing is terrible. But when it comes to just being a kind of a veteran presence out there now, he's actually playing well. And like I said, 2 points. He is not. He looked like a 2-point defenseman out there, in my opinion. And Nate Schmidt was not good at the start of this year, but he got consistent. He got better. And I'm not saying that, you know, you keep Nate Schmidt in forever and he's the guy. But again, having Nate Schmidt, a guy that we thought was going to be terrible this year, actually play decent at times and not be, you know, an anchor out there, I think that's great. And that's something, again, that they have another asset now. Now, Nate Schmidt's not going to bring any, you know, a top-line guy. That's not what I'm saying. But, you know, you have these guys that you can move in situations now that might not be as ugly, you know? I think that that's important. And Nate Schmidt, again, depth. That's so important for teams trying to win in this time of year. And the defense has so much of that this year. The Jets' surplus of defensemen just is a contribute and a showing factor of how good their depth has been at times. And it goes all the way to the Moose right now in the forward core with the call-up and Axel Johnson Fajalbi. He's playing fantastic again. And again, the depth in the forward core is great. The depth in the defensive side is great too. And you look at the improved play plays, guys that have been here, like I've been talking about. This is the exact same guys that we saw last year who haven't played that great. And Brendan Dillon and Neil Pionk, I did not like Brendan Dillon and Neil Pionk last year. This year, they're some of my favorite players in the Jets. They have heart, they've got character, and they go out there and they play hard, especially Brendan Dillon. I've really, really liked what Brendan Dillon has brought to the defensive core this year. He's like almost like, I used to call Mark Stewart the glue guy, because that's what he felt like back in the day. He wasn't the best, defensively, but as wearing that assistant captain, he was important to that defensive core. And Brendan Dillon, in my opinion, has picked up a role just like that with this team, and you're seeing it. He's playing great. He's got confidence. He's got 5 goals. Like, Brendan Dillon, analytically and just with his stats on the ice for points, has been great this year. He's rebounded awesomely. I love it, and it just makes me excited. He's been really good and consistent as a good two-way defenseman, as a guy for that second pairing. I really liked him. He's been reliable, still has that grit and fights, and like I said, the 5 goals and 5 points for the 10 points, on the season. A little bit of a, tongue twister there, I would say, but nonetheless, he is playing great, and I love seeing that, because when the Jets traded for Brendan Dillon, I really thought that he could fit in well with this team, and you didn't see it. It's taken him a while to kind of find his game, but he's really found it this year. And Neil Pionk, he was great in his first year with the Jets in the COVID years, but hasn't been that consistent as of late, and his defensive numbers aren't really there. But this year, Neil Pionk, I gotta say, his defensive numbers individually, like I said, 4%. You think, ugh, but at the same time, him playing with Brendan Dillon, they're bailing each other out, and they're finding ways to find success and be consistent. And I think that's really important for the Jets right now, is consistency, consistency, consistency. It's not always for the flashy hockey. It's not always the in-your-face glory highlights hockey that you're going to see everywhere. It's, this, little plays hockey. And I kind of sound like Kevin Sawyer right now, but you really see it. And they're playing just so different from last year. The confidence is there. You love it. I love it. So, if you're a fan of this team, like I've been saying all year long, jump on this wagon and let's ride, because I am all in and you guys should be too. So make sure to subscribe, comment, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Check out all that stuff down in the comments section below. Peace, love, and positivity as always, and go Jets, go. It'll all be over.